Happy anniversary to one of the biggest trades we had seen in the NHL in a very long time. Okay, maybe not anniversary, but early anniversary. The 1-year anniversary of this trade is actually November 4, so it's actually tomorrow. But let's go over to the Vegas Golden Knights and talk about a guy that has been so good, and he's kind of revived his career in a way that it makes the Erik Karlsson story all the more interesting when you acknowledge that this player is doing similar things in the same conference. Let's talk today about former second overall pick behind Connor McDavid by the Buffalo Sabres, Jack Eichel. Because when it comes to Eichel, there was this article published on the Vegas Golden Knights NHL page. It was written by Gary Lawless. It was published yesterday. The Eichel trade is paying off 1 year after the blockbuster. VGK insider Gary Lawless spoke with Eichel about his life-altering trade nearly 1 year after it happened. Now, before we go over to the context of everything that happened in the trade and what Eichel is doing now, Jack Eichel is a pretty good hockey player. He's 6'2", 214 as a right-handed center, signed till the end of 2026, making $10 million a year. This is a guy that back in his heyday with the Buffalo Sabres was an over-point-per-game superstar. It took him a while to get there. He had a few seasons where he was at 50-ish points on the year. Connor McDavid had 100 points by the time Eichel became a point-per-game player, but Eichel eventually maxed out at an 82-point season in 77 games played. The next season after that, his points per game was actually a lot better, scoring 78 points in 68 games over there. However, there was always this idea that Eichel was kind of frustrated with being a Sabre. The team was never going out there and winning, and Eichel was a pretty competitive dude. And so, combine this with the injury that Eichel sustained that required surgery that Buffalo did not want to give him, it ended up becoming a huge trade story at the end of the 2021 season, and eventually you saw him, 1 year ago pretty much, get traded over to Vegas. Now, with the Golden Knights, he had 25 points in 34 games played after coming back from said surgery. It was kind of a meme that everybody was saying, oh my goodness, Eichel wants to make the playoffs so badly, so from Buffalo he goes over to Vegas, and Vegas ends up not making the playoffs for the first time in their franchise's history when Eichel comes around. That's hilarious. But if you take a look at where things are right now, Vegas is one of the top teams in the entire NHL. Eichel has 12 points in 11 games, and he has looked very convincing while producing these points. It's just highlight after highlight of amazing play after dangle, after goal, after beautiful pass. You could see that Jack Eichel has really started to come back into his own as the player that he was a few years ago. Ain't no surgery gonna stop him now, baby. But of course, for Jack Eichel, this is the player that Vegas fans thought they were going to get. Obviously, you're not trading for an asset that you're probably going to expect to decline, so for all Vegas fans going out there and seeing Eichel perform, it's more of a sigh of relief than it is a crazy surprise. And so, if we go over to the trade 1 year after it happened, what's happening with the assets that had gotten sent over to Buffalo? How are they doing? What are the Sabres up to right now? Well, if you go over to the NHL standings, you can see that, of course, the Vegas Golden Knights are a top team in the Pacific. They're one of the best teams in the NHL right now. They're fighting it out with the Bruins for top spot. But right behind Boston in the Atlantic Division, you've got Tampa Bay, and you've also got Buffalo. The Sabres have been kind of cooking as well, and when it comes to the guys that have gotten sent over to Buffalo in the trade, you could definitely see that there's value here that is going around. Just to remind everybody, the trade went as follows. Jack Eichel and a conditional third from Buffalo were sent over to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for Alex Tuch, Peyton Krebs, and 2 draft picks, a 2022 first, which became Noah Ostlund, and a 2023 second. It's conditional, so it hasn't been used yet. Alex Tuch and Peyton Krebs are the 2 guys coming over, and so far, Alex Tuch is continuing the dominance he has had in Buffalo, kicking off his career over there. He's got 9 points in 9 games played, 6 goals, 3 assists. He's on pace, of course, for 82 points over the span of 82 games. And he's a guy that a lot of people are saying could be the next captain for this team. You could definitely see the infectiously vivacious attitude that Tuch carries forward with this team. He's a hometown guy from the Buffalo area, so of course he's going out there with all the enthusiasm in the world as a part of this hockey team. And you also have Peyton Krebs, who admittedly is not producing as much as Tuch is, but he is still a young guy. A lot of people are believing in Krebs and the potential that he has. We all kind of are seeing just the transformation, him becoming more more of an NHL guy with every future game that he plays. Last season, though, playing for the Sabres, Krebs, in the limited sample that he had, was actually pretty alright. All things considered, he had 22 points in 48 games played for Buffalo, but of course, that comes after playing with the Vegas Golden Knights, the Henderson Silver Knights, and the Rochester Americans, so he's had a pretty good tour of different hockey teams over the past 12 months, pretty much. But if you go over to Jack Eichel and seeing what he's been doing, and you talk about the article that was published on the Golden Knights website, there are a few quotes that I wanted to read about Jack Eichel and his own perspective on the change from Gary Lawless himself. Let's go over to the article here and read what it has to say. Link will be in the description if you want to go ahead and see this. Here's Jack on life with the Vegas Golden Knights 1 year after the deal. Lawless asks, "What's the year been like for you?" Eichel says it's been amazing. It's been a lot of change. It's been awesome. I couldn't be happier with where I am today compared to where I was a year ago. Yeah, I obviously went through a lot. I went through a major surgery. I just think about everything that transpired in the last year just to put me in the position of where I am now. I went through a big surgery, a long process of rehab, and we struggled as a group last year when I came back. Then, just searching in the summer, back to work, and come back into the season with a fresh mindset, a lot has happened to me, on and off the ice. It's been a heck of a year. I couldn't be happier to be in the position I'm in and to be a part of this organization and being a guy on this team with the people who we have in the room. I just really am thankful for everything. They ask, "You did some searching in the summer?" And Eichel says, it's never fun to not meet expectations. It's just, I think you do look inward. Personally, I do it every summer. You just think about the things that you maybe did well and think about things that you'd like to have worked on and gotten better at, things you can control. Lawless then asks, "Are you happy for your Buffalo teammates because, hey, they're off to a good start?" And Eichel says, "Yeah, of course. I really truly do care, and I talk to a lot of those guys on a regular basis. I don't have any ill will towards anybody. I think that's mistaken. I don't have ill will towards people. I think that's the worst way to be. Listen, at the end of the day, this is a business, and the sooner that you learn that, the better off you are. It really is, and listen, it came down to a situation where you have to take care of yourself, and they had to look after themselves as an organization. I totally understand that. I don't have ill will towards people because of that. You can't take things personally in this profession. You can't. Wayne Gretzky got traded too. I don't have ill will towards the organization, and I don't think there's time for that. And a lot of those guys I truly do care about, and I know them very well, and I played with a lot of them for years. I stay in touch with a lot of the guys. I just sold my house to Tage Thompson. Of course, I want to see them do well." And it's nice to hear him say that, of course, but at the same time, when I read that quote, I think about what happened last year. I think about all of the conversations going on about the media and the surgery and Eichel's unwillingness to play for a losing organization, and I remember all the comments that I would get in my videos too, from people calling Eichel lazy and uncommitted and all this stuff, and it's so interesting trying to reflect on where things were 1 year ago in terms of the fan sentiment towards this guy, and how nowadays he's like, yeah, no, I don't have ill will towards anybody. I like a lot of those guys. The organization had to protect themselves. I sold my house to Tage Thompson. I'm good. There's no ill will. We are good, fam. So I thought that was interesting to go out there and bring up. There are a lot of other questions and answers said here in the article, but the last one that I wanted to bring up was pretty much on the Golden Knights themselves. It talks about their success. 9-2, you've never done that before in the NHL. What's it like? Obviously referring to the record of the Golden Knights, because all the Sabres teams that Eichel played for were never good enough to start out 9-2. Yeah, it feels good, Eichel says. It feels good to get off to a good start. I think the important thing for our group, we had a really good first month. I think we've found different ways to win, and we've had a lot of contributions in our lineup, which has been huge. Will Carrier scores a big goal last night. Paul Cotter scores a big goal against Chicago. Both our goalies have played really well for us as well. I think we've started to identify what our identity as a group will be. We've started to commit to that, and we've done a good job playing with Bruce Cassidy's system. It's been good. It was a good first month, and you just want to continue to build on that and continue to get better. There's always stuff to work on as a unit, and I think we definitely want to work on our power play and continue to build special teams. It's so important. It's gotten better over the last 8 games. Obviously, we've changed and we have a different setup now, but yeah, we just try to continue to get comfortable with each other on the ice and learn each other's tendencies a little bit better. You see that start to take off, and it's been good. Sabres fans, talk to the comments all your thoughts about Jack Eichel and his thoughts on the Golden Knights and their start to the season. What are your thoughts on him saying that he's got no ill will towards anybody in the Sabres organization? And if you're a Vegas fan, what are your thoughts on Tuch and Krebs and how they've kicked off their 22-23 seasons? This has been the Eichel trade 1 year removed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9, and bye.